Hello, everybody. Welcome to Reality is where words do come to life. As usual, I do my thing and bringing you the awareness and letting you know what's going on in the community. And because we need to empower and educate ourselves. So today we're doing an interview with Corey Dooley, who is a candidate for the 29th ward. Again, as I've said many times before, do your research for your candidates. You want people who's going to represent you as a constituent, a registered voter in your community who's going to serve what you are requesting and what you are requiring. We still need to understand that our vote is our voice, and we are the employer of the employees of our politicians. So if we can keep that in mind, we can make great choices. So today, I'm going to step out of the screen. I'm probably going to cross the camera, so excuse that, but it's okay. And we're going to focus on Corey Dooley. We're going to ask him some questions. And if you would like to ask some questions, I'll be checking the comments. So put your questions in the comments that you would like to know about Corey Dooley. And we're going to do our due diligence and making sure that everything is answered today so you yourself can make the proper choice of who you want to represent you in the 29th ward. All right? You're going to leave it. Corey, introduce yourself.
All right. Yes, thank you for that introduction, Mr. Renee. Thank you for having me on the show. A little bit about myself. As you mentioned, my name is Corey Dooley. I am a candidate for 29th Ward Alderman. I'm very excited to be here today. So thank you for reaching out. Excited to be a guest here on the show. And yeah, I guess I'll give you a little bit about my background. As I said, my name is Corey Dooley, and I'm a survivor of gun violence and domestic violence. For those who don't know, in 2013, I was shot 4 times by my stepfather. And he ambushed us with a gun as we were on our way home from my little brother's football game. And so, doctors, they gave me less than a 1% chance to survive. And, they said I wouldn't walk again. And now I'm running for office. And so, um, you know, um, for the past since overcoming that obstacle, I went on to get my degree in political science from Concordia University Chicago. I then went on to get my master's in social justice and human rights. I go to school online at Arizona State University, and now I'm working on my second master's back at Arizona State University, but this time master in architecture. And so, as far as my work, people know me from the work that I've done on Chicago Avenue, known as Soul City. Working with former Mayor Rahm Emanuel on the Retail Thrive Zone project, and current Mayor Lori Lightfoot on her Invest Southwest initiative. I've also worked in the Chicago public schools, and so it was during that time that I got to work up close and personal with students. And I even wrote a book, and I used the illustrations from my art therapy to create a book. And that book I often read to students because I understand, they have traumas too. And, I read it to them to help them heal and address from their traumas. And September, y'all see I got this ring on my finger. It's probably blinging in the camera a little bit, but I got married to my college sweetheart, and my wife, Sierra. So, grateful for that. And now, I'm running for a 29th Ward Alderman. And just as I fought for my life, I'm running to fight for our community on the Chicago City Council.
Okay, so what difference do you feel that you can make as the alderman?
For me, I feel like I'm the only candidate that has the most, real life experience
Mhm.
when it comes to the constituents that I serve. I do understand that the 29th Ward is, 65% African American. And for most African Americans, we kind of struggle, we do have money. We do, live the best life that we can. But for the most part, we do, struggle. And whether that has been a generational struggle, or whether that has been a personal struggle, I feel like we can all relate in that. And so, for me being a young man that is a survivor of gun violence, I know many young men are survivors of gun violence. And I'm a walking testimony that you can not only survive, but you can go on and thrive. And so for me, just being surrounded by the people, going through what I've gone through, I just hope to spread a light that, it's not really about what you go through. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it. And, it's my hope that people can see that, I had a positive reaction and they can too.
Okay, so in our communities, There is a gap.
Mhm.
We're very much aware there's a gap with seniors and young people. And some might say, because you are a younger person, that you may not be skilled to be an alderman for the 29th ward, because pretty much they would probably think that you don't have no experience. What would you speak to that to? I mean, how would you address that?
Let me ask you this. What if Fred Hampton would have, accepted the fact that he was too young to lead? At 21 years old, he would have never organized the Black Panther Party and a Rainbow Coalition.
Hmm.
What if Jalen Smith, the youngest mayor in America, would have listened when he was running for mayor at 18 years old in Earl, Arkansas? He wouldn't be the youngest mayor in the United States. And even, what if Maxwell Frost, had listened to people tell him that he was too young.
Hmm.
When he was driving Ubers and running against two wealthy incumbents, he
Hmm.
would have never became the youngest Gen Z member at 25 years old in the House of Congress. And so I'm firm in my faith, and I do believe in the Bible when it says in First Timothy 4:12, don't let anyone discredit you because of your age.
Hmm.
But lead in conduct, lead in purity, lead in love, and lead in action. Don't let anyone discredit you because you are young. And so, with the experience that I have working with businesses, the experience that I have working with faith leaders, city departments, public safety officials, youth and seniors, I'm more than equipped to serve as your next 29th Ward Alderman.
Okay. So we know the 29th ward has not thrived at all up under the current administration. What would you bring that will be different, that will enhance the ward and make people want to be proud of living in the 29th ward?
Yeah, so for me, I'm a student, right? And so the job of a student is to study. And after you study, well, I'm sorry, firstly, your job is to conduct research.
Hmm.
Once you conduct research, then you study that research. And after you study that research, you come up with a plan that is the best possible solution for moving forward.
Hmm.
And so just as I'm a student in the classroom, I'll also be a student as an alderman. And I've been a student. And as I've moved around the community and knocked on doors and spent my time around the ward, the three issues that have been highlighted to me are economic development,
Hmm.
public safety, and education.
Hmm.
And so when you talk about economic development, I would really like to build up the business districts in our ward.
Hmm.
Just to name a few, Chicago Avenue, Madison. You're looking at Harlem. You're looking at North Avenue. Division,
Hmm.
because businesses are the windows to our ward.
Hmm.
That is how people look in. That's how they're able to come and experience things. When they shop. And when you talk about public safety, you're talking about working with law enforcement, right? We know that particularly in the African American community, when it comes to public safety
Hmm.
officials, we don't have the best relationship, right?
Right.
We don't get public safety, we get law enforcement,
Right.
right? And so we need to be able to bridge that.
Hmm.
And for me as a young man, I've worked with the 15th Police District, the YDAC, which is the Youth District Advisory Council.
Hmm.
I was the committee chairman for domestic violence, these where I hosted these sessions and brought more resources to the
Hmm.
community, working with Officer Young, working with the Phoenix Outreach of Chicago and Sarah's Inn. And when you talk about education, I've worked in the public schools. I've handled a budget of over $100,000, and I've had to assess the needs, working with students, working with staff, and parents to bring in these community organizations, to bring in a cheer program, which the kids had been begging for years.
Hmm.
And I was able to bring in Mean Streets Elite Cheering, bringing in a cooking program,
Hmm.
Common Threads cooking program.
Hmm.
And I remember one of the parents saying to me, "Hey, my son came home and he told me that he knew what we were going to make for dinner and he was going to help me make it."
Hmm.
And so, that's impact. And so when you talk about the things that the 29th Ward needs, I believe, economic development, public safety, and education are three of the needs.
Yeah, agree with you. We do need economic development, public safety, and education, definitely. After school programs coming up used to be a popular thing. They
Mhm.
are no more. Seniors used to have local business like your Walgreens, and I know the
Mhm.
Walgreens on North Avenue in Narragansett
Mhm.
is gone. So now they only have the Walgreens on Cicero and North Avenue. Used to be a Walgreens on Chicago Avenue and Cicero. That is since gone. But we have a lot of senior facilities that need those pharmaceutical places that's locally because they fearful, first of all, coming out at a certain time of the day, but they have to travel such a long way. So building up our communities and adding business that's going to enhance the communities does make a difference. But here's a question that I see happening in various wards. We a lot of times most aldermen allow outside entities to come in and take over. And when they come in and take over the different wards, they negate the needs of the people. So how can you create a balance that the people needs will be met at the same time? You have to create the economic development. How can we create a balance for that?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you highlighted that. And I always say that the key to wealth is through ownership, right? And so not only do we need to own the property, but we need to own the businesses in our community. And I'm proud to say that during my time working in the community, that I was able to, help bring a black-owned grocery store, right? It wasn't a Walmart that we brought, but we brought 40 Acres Fresh Market. Working with Liz Avenal, who does, her fresh markets around the world, we were able to bring in the first black-owned fitness center, hosted, headed by Cornelius and Katrina Alderman, TNC Fitness opening up right there on Chicago Avenue and Mayfield. Batters and Berries is coming, and so I believe that we have the resources that we need in the 29th ward. We just need to invest in the people. And because the 29th ward and Austin has so many great organizations, I think that we need to do a better job of pouring into our organizations, pouring into our non-for-profits that have been doing this work, that are from the community, and kind of create that balance. Now you do need your anchors, right? You need your Walgreens, you need your Walmarts, but you also cannot forget about the hyper local, people that are there. You can't forget about the legacy residents that are there, and that's how displacement happens, right? When you're looking at least when I look at development, I don't look at gentrification, right? Which is you have these downtown developers or these outside developers coming in, they're buying up all the property, and even though the area is beautiful, it's not owned by the people that live there.
Exactly.
So what I'm looking more so to do is a community wealth building model, where you have residents owning the properties, where you have residents owning the businesses. And I think that's one of the ways that we can make sure that our community isn't necessarily like diluted, I guess you would say, with these outside entities.
Yeah, and here's another concern that residents address all the time. It's usually the same organizations that constantly get the funding, and they really don't do the legwork that needs to be done. It's usually the grassroots organization who don't get the funding and who's always with their feet to the pedal, that's always making sure the community needs are met. So how can we create a balance for those who's always receiving the funding and balance to those who's actually doing the work so they can get the funding?
That is another good question. And you have to be present. And I pride myself on the name Community Corey for a reason because I move around the community and I know what the needs are. I meet with the people. And I think what we could also benefit from is some type of oversight council, right? Some type of community council that is responsible for the oversight of the funds that these non-for-profits are receiving. If we have a non-for-profit that for years has been receiving this funding, but we don't know where it's going, or where it's going, we're not seeing any fruit from it. I think that we need to have, these structures in place where people, these councils in place where people can say, hey, maybe this funding needs to go to this organization. Or we know that the city is releasing, I'm just using $1 million, right? And we're going to put up these 10 organizations to get this, whether that is for, violence prevention, whether that's for economic development, whether that is for education. I think we need to organize the people to be able to come together. And just as they created an oversight for the police, board, which is new, the empowering communities for public safety. I forget the ordinance. I might have messed it up, but I think we need that same thing on a community level to, kind of look at the oversight of these not-for-profits and the funds that they're receiving.
Yeah, I agree. Our communities have been far too long neglected. And we have seniors who lives in our wards that's struggling.
Mm.
They've owned their homes for 35 and 40 years, but even at that, Social Security is not like it used to be. You got to pay for medicine, you got to pay
Mhm.
for your utilities, and property upkeep is hard for seniors.
Mhm.
And I don't think there's enough assistance for seniors, but people don't, constituents don't understand the tip.
Right.
They don't
Mhm.
understand there's another funding out there. They don't, and I know always have slush funds as well,
Mhm.
but they don't understand what those monies represent to their community. So, can you enlighten, while we're having this conversation, how those funds can create a better growth for the community?
Yeah, and I know you said TIF, right, which
Hmm.
is tax increment financing.
Right.
And this is a tax. This is something that the city put into place. Where we were able to tax certain things, and based off this tax base, this pot of money was, supposed to go to redo the schools, right, redo the roads, help out with seniors. But what we find is that this process has been manipulated.
Hmm.
And these funds in these TIF districts, right? I know there's an Austin commercial, the one that I worked with. These funds are kind of being sucked up and taken to other communities.
Hmm.
I forget the name of it, but I think it starts with a B, where they take the money, let's say, out of Austin, and it goes to downtown. To those developers,
Hmm.
I think we need to we need to look again at the TIF structure,
Hmm.
and how that, I think they call it blight. It just came back to my mind. I think it's called blight, and we need to eliminate that. And the money, the tax money that we're raising in our district, needs to go to our people, right?
Exactly.
And instead of it flowing from the neighborhoods to downtown, it needs to flow from downtown back into the neighborhoods.
Hmm.
And what I would also like to do is organize our young people so that we can help our seniors out. Since the pandemic, I know a lot of us have been individualized, right? We've kind of been on our own, and I think as we come out of the pandemic, and as much time as we need to take, we need to start to unionize, and we need to start to come together. And I would like to put programs in place that have our youth, helping our seniors, right, helping upkeep the house. A lot of us, don't understand the importance of ownership, right?
Hmm.
And so grandma has had the house since, for 50, 60 years. And we come along and sell it for some quick cash.
Hmm.
We don't understand the value and the equity that has been built up in the house. So we sell it for something quick. And
Hmm.
that's 60 years of work that grandma and mama and dad then put in,
Hmm.
that we now sell. And so I think it's educating our young people. And, that's an opportunity for employment too. So we
Yes.
can also economically incentivize them while helping our seniors out at the same time.
Yeah, we used to have what we call the Boys and Girls Club. Those
Yeah.
facilities was very
Uh-huh.
helpful in our communities. I know when I was growing up on the West Side, Austin Town Hall was my place
Okay.
to go to. But now we don't have those avenues.
Hmm.
Even in the schools, home economic used to be
Yep.
a thing. ROTC
Hmm.
was a thing
Hmm.
in school. And I think if the children, our youth, had something that would garner their attention,
Hmm.
or we would figure out a way to take what they love to do and make it educational,
Hmm.
that we could create an environment that they will stop hanging out on the street,
Hmm.
uh, learn something different,
Hmm.
and invest in them more to make them more profitable for their own future. And they will not be feeling like they're uncared for and unloved. And I think that's a lot of our problems that we have today. House is not a home anymore.
Yeah.
So how do we find a solution, or what do you have in mind that would be benefit to help in that situation?
Yeah, for me, I can only speak to my experience, right?
Mhm.
And as I moved around the community, I've worked with a number of organizations that are already doing this work. And if they
Mhm.
could just get a little bit more help, if they
Mhm.
could just get a little bit more funding, if they could get a little bit more support from their aldermen, I think we would be able to address these issues.
Mhm.
When you talked about Austin Town Hall, Aisha Oliver, she has her organization, Root to Fruit, and they put together the Austin Safety Action Plan.
Mhm.
You have Chris Thomas, who works with youth, right? And you have the college mentoring experience, right, with Mr. Lilly, Reverend Bernard Lilly. In his organization, you have Territory, who's helping to build up the business district on Chicago Avenue. You have all these great, youth
Mhm.
organizations, not even to mention Austin Coming Together, West Side Health Authority. I could go on and on. But if we could just organize and mobilize and let these organizations know that we support you, especially from the Alderman's office, we're going to give you the resources that you need to be able to go to the next level. I don't have to go outside of my community
Mhm,
to fulfill these needs. There are
mhm.
already people doing this work. So if we could just invest in them a little bit more, then I think that we would be able to solve some of the issues that we're speaking about right now.
Yeah, but I also think the Alderman office should provide resources, maybe a one-page pamphlet. These are the list of organizations and these are the things that they do to make it, because let's be clear. Everybody's not technical savvy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of individuals don't know how to look up information. You got a lot of grandmamas raising teenagers and
Yeah.
they don't know, the first step to do to find their teenager something to do with themselves. So um I always said there needs to be resource information.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to the alderman's office, 9 times out of 10, and I'm just being transparent, this is not Corey, this is Renee speaking from the back end of the camera. Um, they're not there,
Mm-hmm.
or they give you these okey doke responses, or they don't respond at all, and so you left in a hanger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're supposed to go to your alderman if you have trouble with your garbage pickup. You're supposed to go to your alderman if you're having a problem with your street lights or the payment of your streets. But we have these individuals who sit in the seat
Mm-hmm.
of an alderman, but you stand on your front porch and you don't receive the results of their work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very discouraging to those constituents who live in the community. And when somebody come along like you, it makes it difficult for people to trust, to
Mm-hmm.
believe that you're actually going to do what you say you're going to
Yeah.
do, because I've been lied to
Mm-hmm.
so many times. So it's a difficult task for you
Mm-hmm.
to on the outside trying to get in, so you can be the difference that you want to see
Mm-hmm.
for constituents to trust. So how do you make someone feel like you are that candidate that will listen and do what you say you're going to do?
Yeah, and firstly, I know you unpacked a lot in there, and I want to hit on what you said. Access to information. What I can guarantee you is that as an alderman, I will create an app where members in the community can know what's going on. There's a business directory, right? There's events. There is a place where you can, request services, right? And I think in this digital age that we're living in, we can use technology
Mhm,
to make our lives easier and increase our quality of life, and we're already doing it, right? Like Zoom calls, right?
mhm,
Everybody's on a Zoom call now, which you love when you can have the suit top on and
mhm.
then have the pajamas
Right.
on, right? The ring cameras, right?
Mhm,
That's another thing which I haven't been the biggest fan of ring cameras lately because I was out knocking doors, actually close to right here, the 5900 block of Augusta, and I slipped and I almost, I swear I almost broke my ankle. And I know one of them ring cameras caught it.
right.
But when we talk about technology to make our lives easier,
Mhm,
I think that is a unique way by
mhm,
creating an app and helping our seniors, right? Because like you said, we have this digital divide
mhm.
where our seniors they don't even know how to work their phones. And so
Exactly.
as an alderman, I'll host workshops. I even would like to host a class, once a week or bi-weekly, where people can, especially our youth can come in and help heal and address from their trauma, because I know
Mhm,
that's big in the community. But
exactly.
also workshops where we help our seniors, use technology and like, bridge this gap, bridge the
Mhm.
digital divide.
Yeah. A lot of the singers don't even know how to do email.
Mm,
They don't have a clue about email. And here's something else. Singers have been getting scammed a lot lately.
yes.
They have really been scammed. And it happens, especially when they have families
Mm,
that can be the mediator for certain phone calls.
mm-hmm,
And I think there needs to be a program or some kind of setup where we can assist our seniors
mm-hmm,
so they won't get scammed. Their money is hard.
mm-hmm,
And it's already in a place where they have to choose between rental or paying for medication. And
mm,
then to have somebody scamming for their money, it's heartbreaking. And I don't think people realize that you yourself is going to get older. You
mm-hmm,
know what I'm saying? So the roles are going to reverse. You're not going to be young always.
mm-hmm,
So uh, to make our seniors, because they worry, they're scared, they're very fearful.
mm-hmm.
What can we do to create an ease for our seniors?
Mm. And as we've been talking, we do need to save our seniors. I even like that tagline. It's a program, save our seniors, where we have these programs. The Alderman's office is able to host programs. We're able to pull in community organizations to where we can meet them where they are, right? A lot of the times we ask people to meet us where we're at or come to the Alderman's office. How about we come to you?
Exactly.
Right. And so looking at biweekly, because technology is getting newer and newer every day. And we cannot afford to leave our seniors behind. And so I would like to create a program that has us meeting our seniors where they are, teaching them how to do emails, right? Where they can put in these requests. Once we teach them how to use the technology, they can put in these requests for, hey, I need someone to come and help me with this. I need someone to come and help me with that, and at least so that they're feeling heard, right?
Right.
A lot of our seniors don't even feel heard.
They don't.
They don't even feel like people care. So if I could just let them know that we do care, and especially being a young man, and I know they might look at me as part of the problem, and so for me to be part of that solution, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that we do save our seniors and that they have the resources that they need, so that they know that we care and that we love
And you hit on something that was because they do feel like young people are a part of the problem. I know a couple of singers, and you know what they tell me all the time?
them.
We're throwaways. And that is so disheartening to me to hear a senior who has put their life
Mhm.
and done the things, raised their families, and at the age that God has blessed them to live, they should live a better quality of life in peace. No senior should feel in any ward
Mhm.
that they are a throwaway. You know what I'm saying? If they need a ramp on their house, then that's the alderman's position to make sure that that senior get that ramp.
Mhm.
You shouldn't have to go through all the rigmarole, the broken promises and the lies. Well, I'm gonna get this done, and it never get done. That senior needs that ramp for a reason. They could be amputees. Both legs could be amputated.
Yeah.
They could have had stroke, and their bottom halves don't even work. So again, just to pick for a singer to say, "I'm a throwaway," that really brought tears to my eyes to hear a singer say they are throwaway. To hear a singer say, "I don't want to walk out my front door," not even in the daytime. We're not even talking about night. We're talking about 12 noon. They're very fearful of walking to the store or whatever. And it didn't used to be that way.
Mhm.
Somewhere along the line, our political officers, officials have gotten off track.
Yeah.
And it's no longer about the people's need, but it's pay for play.
Yeah.
We don't care about what the people's needs are. We don't care about and it's only on the south and the west side. See, up north and downtown is fine. They take care of those. And the only time that they're concerned about our community, and please don't, I hope nobody take offense, but these are facts, is when white people move back in.
Mhm.
That's the only time they really care.
Mhm.
And that's the sad part. We need to make sure those who invested in the communities are heard.
Yeah.
Bottom line. That's just the bottom line what it is. And our school system is not like it used to be.
Mhm.
You know, we got more liquor stores in our community than we have any other thing. And
Mhm.
I'm still trying to figure out why.
Mhm.
Opioid crisis is at an all-time high in
Mhm.
our community,
Mhm.
and it's not being addressed.
Mhm.
So young blood is good. I'm even getting to the point now at my age, we don't even have no more old presidents
Mhm. Mhm.
because the thinking is stuck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
They're not able to open their mind and see things from a different perspective.
Mhm.
Their thinking right now is a one-way street, it's my way or no way.
Yeah.
And as you said, things have changed, and we need to bring our communities up to modern technology,
Mhm.
and we need to be able to service them better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We do. And as I moved around the community, for a young man, a young black man, especially a young black man with blonde hair,
Hmm.
people can often, look at you and they can categorize you. And people were often telling me, "Hey, you need to change your hair. You need to change the way you talk. You need to change the way you present yourself." But that would defeat the purpose of what I'm doing.
Right.
Why is it only okay to have blonde hair as a rapper? Why can I not have that as an alderman? Does that affect the way I think? Does that affect, my experience?
Mhm.
And I'm running so that our youth can see, don't let anyone put you in a box. You can be whatever you want to be.
Mhm.
So I'm excited that people are excited about a fresh new voice.
Mhm.
And that's what I myself, Corey Dooley, am bringing to the 29th Ward, a fresh new voice. And like you said, being able to bring new and creative ideas, because the way things are today might not be the way things are tomorrow.
Exactly.
And especially, with technology is
Mhm.
speeding up our world.
Mhm.
This artificial intelligence,
Mhm.
these digital currencies. What are these things?
Mhm.
And we are not going to leave our seniors behind. And the fact that you said that they feel like throwaways, that hurts my heart. Because I think highly of my grandmother, and if it wasn't for her, and her praying spirit, I know that I wouldn't be here today.
Mhm.
And so, saving our seniors is something that is important, and it's something that takes a village, right?
Mhm.
Um, we somewhere along the way, the family unit has gotten broken down to where
Mhm.
the fathers aren't in the household.
Mhm.
It puts a lot on the mothers. They
Mhm.
have to deal with drug addiction.
Mhm.
And so, me being able to work with, Representative LaShawn Ford and the West Side Opioid Task Force, with Luther Science, it kind of gave me an end to see, just the amount of struggling that we are with addiction, which goes into another conversation
Mhm.
about, trauma. And also working with Benny Lee and NAFI, they do a great job. National Alliance for the Formerly Incarcerated, they do a great job of rehabilitating our returning citizens.
Mhm.
And also, Malik Fleming
Mhm.
with Recycle, he even started an organization. And man, almost, it brought tears to my eyes and his eyes when he said, for a long time, I felt like I was a part of the problem in this community.
Mhm.
And now I'm running to be a part of that solution. And so you have so many great things happening.
Mhm.
And, like you said, it's time for new leadership to bring everyone together and start building the village back up.
It is, and I appreciate that. We need to stop prejudging people for their appearance and get to know people for who they are.
Hmm.
Bottom line. So, and to wrap this up, just speaking to the audience,
Hmm.
uh, very educated, very knowledgeable, commend you on all the hurdles you overcame.
Thank you.
It's a great thing. And then you're a great example
Hmm.
for young black men. They need to see what struggle look like and what
Hmm.
overcoming look like at the
Right.
same time.
Hmm.
So you will be a great asset to the 29th ward. Let me just say that right there. And I'm not one who support a lot of individuals. I'm not. But you got a good heart. You got a good heart, and I appreciate that. So tell those who will watch right now and those who will watch later, what would make you the best choice for the 29th ward?
Well, I can tell you that, in 2013, I was shot 4 times, and the doctors said that I wouldn't survive. And after I survived, they said I wouldn't walk again. And after I walk again, they said that I wouldn't run. And I went on to do even greater things. And so 10 years later, as we stand here in 2023, when I announced that I was going to run for office, they said I wouldn't collect enough signatures to get on the ballot. And so I collected enough signatures to get on the ballot, and they said I wouldn't overcome the 10 objection challenges that the current alderman filed against me. And now that I'm on the ballot, they're saying I'm not going to win. And so I'll leave that up to you. But just as I fought for my life, I am going to fight for our community. And I'm going to fight for the 29th Ward. And it is time that we elect a fresh new voice to put the 29th Ward on the right track. As an economic developer, young people ally, and public safety enthusiast, I'm the only candidate that has wanted to be the alderman in this race. Corey stands for community. I don't stand for private interests, and I don't stand for political influence. I will build the community and I will build the economy to put the 29th Ward on the right track. And so, if you believe that I can do this, which I know that you do, I'm asking for you to punch 53 for Corey D. And if you want to learn more about me, if you want to volunteer or donate, which we are in support of right now, you can visit my website, communitycorey.com. And I look forward to working with you. I look forward to serving you.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. That's Corey Dooley. He's a bright gentleman. We need to put somebody move. I'm gonna say move that other one out the seat and replace it with Corey. All right, y'all make sure y'all punch 53. Punch 53. Punch 53. Keep saying it over and over.
Yeah.
Punch 53. All right. Till we talk again. Thank you, Corey.